I'm Loretta Macleod. I'm a woman in business myself. I have been in business now for almost 9 years, which every time I say that as the years go by, I really can't believe it, because I can remember what it was like in year one, and I was saying to myself in year one, if I survive a year, I'll be absolutely laughing. I'll be so chuffed. So I'd like you to put your hands together and give a very warm welcome, please, to Karen Dunbar.
Hello ladies, and thanks very much for waiting on me. As you know, my name is Karen Dunbar. I'm going to talk to you a wee bit today about my job, and my job title, which is, look at me, tidying up. Once a barmaid, always a barmaid. Look at I'm talking. Terrible, look at that white. My job, which is the official title to my job, is that woman off the telly. So, that woman off Tune the Fat, or that lassie off Tune the Fat. I like that one. I'm never very keen on that lady off Tune the Fat. It makes me think that I should be plucking hairs out my chin when folks say that lady. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take you through just a wee bit about my work experience, my job experience, how it all started for me, where I came from, and how it's went to its cataclysmic global proportions, household name that it is today. I started off, I was born in Ayr, not too far from here, and born and brought up in Ayr, and went to school there with not really much more thought about what I was going to do in my life other than get married, have kids, settle down, and do what, you know, my mum and dad expected of me. And that's basically what my ideas of how my life was going to be. I had obviously the so-called dreams, which was to have a career and to work in the field of entertainment. I'd always wanted to do that. I feel very fortunate that since such an early age that I always knew that I wanted to be working in entertainment. You know, I can remember people around about, you know, when they say, "What is it you want to be, hen?" Things like that, and I would always say, "On the telly," like that, you know, on the telly. But I didn't know how, and I didn't know in what way. But I did know that I wanted to work in entertainment from a very young age. I believe the day that everybody has got their talent, every single person has got a specific talent, and I think that's one of the main purposes of life today, not to go too far off on one, but one of the main purposes in life today is to find your talent. And how to use that talent to help other people. I really do believe that, because what I've found is that that's when I feel happiest, most at peace and at my best, is when I'm doing something that I enjoy doing, that I feel is helping other people. I feel very, very privileged to be working in the capacity that I am, and to have so many benefits from my job. It's unbelievable. I really can't believe my life sometimes, and I do, as I say, I feel very fortunate where I am today, to where I'd set out, where I thought I was going. When I left school with 3 O grades, so I know, hunters, that's loads, so the intelligence, pouring out my ears, 15 to 1, put me right in the middle of the countdown, I'll tan your hide, Carol. So I had 3 O grades that I really never bothered much to get, because, as I say, my idea was that I would have to settle down, get married and have kids, and look after the kids and support my husband, and that was really all that I could see in front of me. So I left school with these 3 O grades and really no much more aspirations than that. I decided to take, well, I really got kind of forced into taking a YTS scheme, because that's all that was really available to me at the time, which I don't know if there's anybody here in their sort of the same age as me, early 20s, which early to mid to late. Alright, I'm 30, right? So 30s that went on one of these YTS schemes. In one way I can say that I found it slightly demoralising, but in another way there was a lot of good teaching within that. Everything I think's got its good side, and it's positive and it's negative. So I found myself working in the post office in a YTS scheme, which paid at that time £28.50 a week, and that was for 6 days. So, and you know, there's people in other countries working for a lot less today, but I think I was hard done by. But as I say, I did find that slightly demoralising, but there was a lot of good teaching in that for me about how to work with people, and how to get up in the morning, basically, and how to get myself out. And I found it very hard to be motivated within that sphere as well, because what I felt that I wanted to do was work within entertainment. But anytime, look, I've got all these notes here and I've not even referred to them at all. It doesn't matter. If you get bored, say read the notes. But what I did do was, as I say, I worked in the post office because I had to put money back. I felt that I had to put money back into the family home. And all these thoughts of being on television, any time that I ever, spoke about that, people would say, "I'm not written that down here. Like that's not, things like that is not a real job." Working in the entertainment field, especially my mother. My mother thought that was just a nice wee notion hen, but you need to get yourself a real job with real prospects that has got, that's going somewhere. So I, in turn, convinced myself that my mother was right, because your mother's aye right. Mind you, I don't know if anybody who's ever read that book, My Mother, Myself. If you haven't, don't run out and get it. They do. It took me weeks to get over it. Anyway, you know, one of the books you start reading, you think, I don't need to read this. I don't. Oh my God, I don't need to read. Oh, anyway, that aside, my mother was always right. So I worked in this field, and I told myself that I tried to channel my energies into improving myself within the post office. It's awfully hard leading a false existence in any way, whether it's in my work, whether it was in my personal life, whether it was in a family capacity. It's awfully tiring being somebody that you're not. It really is. And I certainly felt that that's what was happening to me in the post office. I tried very hard to tell myself that I wanted to become an auditor within the post office, because auditors were dead cool, right? So I thought I'll be an auditor. Auditors were like the kind of post office mafia that walked about with leather coats on and hats and just turned up out the blue at any post office and said, "Let me see your books." And everybody went, "It's the auditors." And I thought, oh, I love that idea. I love that thought. And you get paid loads. So I'll be an auditor. I never even got my arithmetic O grade. I was crap at mental arithmetic, I really was. But it's a job. And I'll tell you, see, for the job that I had there in the post office, I couldn't have been Prime Minister, and my mother would have been more proud. To work in the post office was some accolade for my family. Like our cans in the post office. Fantastic. And it was the post office that served our community. So the folk that come in, I knew them all for doing a bit. So I would say, "Hello, Mrs. Jimison. How are you the day? 10, 20. And there's your 15. And how's your Cones, and how's Alec, and how, So it was like post office social club. My boss had to take me aside and say, "Can you just serve the folk and not interview them? Because there's another 50 people behind them." So, but at the same time, this made for a good feeling, and my mum was offy. I say working in the post office. That's one of the great benefits that I did have for that job. But it came to a point that, and I've got the post office to thank as well for sitting behind that counter day after day after day, and I mean that. I have got that to thank, because it came to a point I was starting to say to myself, what am I doing with my life? What is this all about? I really don't want to do this. How can I be honest? How can I be honest about saying that I don't want to do this? Have I just to accept this, that this is how my life's to go? But I told myself, again, that way you've got your dreams on this side, and what you think is reality. Because see, for me, the day I believe that whatever I believe is reality, will be reality. See, if I believe something, if I really believe it, and that's the truth. And it might seem a bit radical, but I've had to adapt myself, and I've had to make myself think like that, because there's a lot of this type of work that I do, and not just the type of work that I do, but women in business altogether. I think that's totally told, no, you can't do that, no, you can't do that, that's a man's job, hen. Things like that. A wee feeling there, sound that. And things that we are not supposed to be doing. But if I start to believe differently, then I will start to act differently. because my actions all come from my beliefs in the first place. If I take on new beliefs, then I'll act that way. I've got to believe in my, what I feel inside, and this is what was drawing me, this terrible feeling of turning up every morning. I hated going to my work. I hated it. I got up and getting ready, a bus, and sitting in it, and I hated it because I was trying to please other people and not trying to please myself, and I didn't believe in what I was doing. Anyway, that being said, I made a decision to move for the post office, and I'd been in the post office for 2.5 years, and things were going really, really well with it. I'd finished all my YTS course and had loads of training around the post office. I was now working for half the time for double the money in another post office, and I was so depressed because it wasn't what I felt was, I wasn't channeling my energy, my talent into what I felt was right. I moved on from there and I decided to get a part-time job, face painting. Very similar to the post office. OAPs wins. I didn't set the OAPs up the counter, do you know what I mean? So I got a part-time job face painting, and I did the two of them, but what happened through that was that I felt that I was closer to doing some kind of entertainment face painting than ever was in the post office, and I was getting paid so much more face painting than I was in the post office, and everything just shifted. I moved from there to the face painting, and I stayed with that. It was at Burlands, so unfortunately the season had to come to an end. So when that did come to an end, I was out of a job, and I was out of a job for about 6 weeks. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but my mother had instilled a thing in me as well, that's, you don't take on debt, and I'll tell you that, and you don't not work. You're always working, you've always got to work, and you work and you pay your own way, then yeah. You know, I'm sure that's stamped on me somewhere, because it's all that I ever got when I was younger, and I'm glad of that to a certain degree today as well, because it's kept me motivated, it's kept me going. That's another one of my core beliefs, that it doesn't matter what job I do, I need to do some kind of job to support myself. I'm speaking for myself, by the way, and whatever anybody else does to support themselves and how things go for them, because I don't have kids, you see, so maybe it's very easy for me to talk like that without having the experience of having to bring up children as well. So there'll be a question and answer session at the end of this, or a shouting session, if you like, to say, but here! So please feel free to educate me, because I feel that's what I'm here to be today as well, is educated by yous. By yous. See your grades coming out to play there. Going to use educate me. So, I can only be who I am. Just try to be who I am. I'd rather be that than somebody I know, because I spent a lot of my life trying to be somebody I wasn't. It's too tiring. Anyway, just to move on before it's 5:30, you know. I went from there, I moved